Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr. This is episode 278 of CryptoBiography, and it's part 12 of The Smallest Magician. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Marcus for giving a shout out to the show. Looks like he's looking forward to seeing what happens once the assassins arrive in town, and so am I. So here we go. If this new sort of magic doesn't want to be spotted, she thought, then surely looking for it wouldn't help much. What if she didn't look for it? Someone must have been the first person to find magic in the world, and they must not have been looking for it. Perhaps then, out of the corner of her eye? She tried it. She looked ahead, with her magical sight working, but not focused on any particular thing. After all, this magic would not be in any one thing. Where are you? She thought. Where are you, my magic? She thought she saw something out of the corner of her eye. It was wispy, as Donegal had suggested. When she turned her head towards it, it was gone. But when she looked away again, it seemed to be there, like when a lash is caught on the surface of her eye. It was very difficult to say exactly how far away it was or how big it was, but it was there. Some sort of area of magic, barely discernible. But could she use it? Clearly that was the idea. It wouldn't do to have magic that she could see but not use. She slowly reached out and took a candle off the desk. She was trying to keep the magic in the corner of her eye, but it kept slipping away. She held the candle and let her mind relax again. She spotted the wisp of magic again. She willed to draw it in, warm up, become hot. She couldn't tell if it was working. When she pulled energy from the candles, she could see it draining from the candle. Here, the wisp was so insubstantial and so far out of the center of her vision that she simply could not tell if she was doing it properly. She heard the door open behind her, and her concentration broke. She turned to see her master in the doorway, with a tray of food. He was taking in the situation. A candle. Emby, did you spot the magic already? Are you trying to use it? Yes, master, she said, putting the candle back on the desk. I'm having trouble with that part, though. Well, that's to be expected. There's a step you need to take. I only asked you to find the magic. I didn't expect you to find it so quickly and try to use it. He strode in and put the tray down on the desk near Emby. He made a little gesture toward the food. Have some. She ate, and he talked. I'm impressed again. I did not expect you to find it while I was getting the food and talking with Canna. I need to re-raise my expectations of you. The reason you couldn't use the magic the way you were trying is that there's a step I haven't told you yet. Magic from candles and other items where the magic has already been used is called shaped magic. Magic that has been touched by a magician. Magic that is just out in the world is raw magic. Raw magic needs to be shaped. We do that not by casting a spell with it immediately, but by taking the magic into ourselves, like water being poured into a pitcher. When you've had a bite and some drink, try it. Find the magic again. Don't cast a spell, just feel the magic drain into you. You'll feel warm and full when it's working. At least that's how it feels for me. Then you can cast a spell with it. She ate and drank quickly, excited to try. She jumped out of the chair. Donegal chuckled at her eagerness. Time to try, apprentice. She found the magic hovering in the room and kept it in the corner of her eye. She willed it to come to her, be pulled in. Donegal's description was somewhat apt. It did seem to fill her up, but instead of feeling warm, she felt cool. It was like having a refreshing dip in a pool of mountain water. Still feeling full, she reached out and took the candle. She lit it almost effortlessly. In fact, the flame, for a moment, was much larger than expected, and she almost dropped it. Yes, energy that comes from inside you, that you have turned from raw to shape, tends to bend to your will more strongly and easily. Why not teach this first, then? She asked. Shaped magic is so much easier to spot. If I tried to teach you to find and pull raw magic first, you'd be constantly distracted whenever there was shaped magic around, or you simply wouldn't be able to see it at all. Now, you can do both. What happens if I use all the magic in the room? It will take time for it to recover. Raw magic loves to find spots and fill just those spots, as though it was water and found a nice low spot to create a pool. Eventually, if you drain the pool, it will be dry, but the magic will trickle back in. Most magicians will set up near one or more of these natural magic pools. Emby nodded her understanding. You should have more magic within you, Donegal said, and Emby nodded again as confirmation. Good. Practice your camouflage spell. She did so, and couldn't help but feel pride when she saw Donegal smile as the world became fuzzy and the spell took effect. You're even more invisible than last time, he said. Try standing up and keeping the spell going while you walk the room. She did so. This time the spell did not slide off of her. She could tell it was still in place. She walked around the room. Donegal could clearly see her to some extent as he followed her with his gaze. She let the spell drop. How visible am I when I move? Here, in this room, with good light, and knowing where you started? It was simple to follow you around. If I didn't know you were here, or it was darker, or if there were any other objects helping hide you, it would have been a lot more difficult. I might have had to cast a spell of my own. I can keep it up now while I move. Indeed you can, and part of this is practice. Part of it is using the raw magic you took in and shaped yourself. Raw magic, while not exactly more powerful, tends to bend to your desires more easily. At least I've always found it so. Emby nodded. So having raw magic around has other benefits beyond making magic more accessible. Yes, but please continue to practice with both kinds. It wouldn't do to get used to using raw magic and then get in a situation where you're rusty with shaped magic just when you need it. Emby took this advice to heart. Over the next few days, she practiced casting spells with both raw and shaped magic. 3 days after learning about raw magic, Donegal brought her into his office. He had 2 small wooden boxes about the size of a snuff box on his desk. Emby was curious, but waited for Donegal to speak. I have completed my magical items, he started. I have here a way for you to communicate with me and vice versa. He opened the boxes. Inside were 2 orbs, a bit smaller than a chicken's egg each. Each box had 1 red and 1 blue. These can send a voice over many miles as though the speaker were talking right into your ear. They come preloaded with shaped magic. Even one who isn't magical can be taught to use these. You shouldn't have any trouble at all. Does the magic run out? Indeed it does. Replacing it is difficult, however, and needs to be done with the 2 connected orbs in physical contact. So you have a few short minutes of conversation available, and then I will have to reload them. Take this box. The red one you speak into. The blue one lets you hear. I will hear your red orb with my blue one and vice versa. To start the conversation, tap the red one 3 times, like this. He rapped the desk 3 times fairly quickly, like knocking on a door. Just use the tip of your forefinger. That will start the conversation. We can talk for a few minutes, then it will go silent. I've made your box soundproof, non-magically. I will not be able to start a conversation with you because you won't hear it. And if we're in conversation and you need silence, just put the 2 orbs in your box, and even if I'm still talking, no one will be able to hear. The sound isn't loud anyway, and you'll need to hear it need to hold it close to your ear, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared. Go to the kitchen, tap your red orb 3 times, and let's try it out. She did so and was soon in the kitchen with Canna. She felt a little odd starting a conversation with no one else in the room, but tapped the red orb 3 times, then held it in front of her mouth and the blue one by her ear. Not too close, in case it was louder than she thought. Master? I can hear you, Emby. Do you hear me? Yes, it's weird. And it was. It was weird hearing a small voice when no one was there. It was also weird hearing his voice coming in just one of her sensitive ears. Usually she had excellent abilities to determine the direction and distance a sound was coming from. It takes some getting used to. How's Canna? Canna's fine. Canna looked over at Emby. She held up the orbs and said to her, I'm talking with Master Donegal through these. Canna nodded and went back to chopping potatoes. She'd seen a lot of strange things over the years, working and living in Master Donegal's house. This didn't even rate. And that's the end of the story for this week. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to the big event, which has been set up a couple of episodes ago. If you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, cryptobiography@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. And thanks for listening. Words and music, copyright 2022, CryptoBiography LLC, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.